So hello everyone, welcome to recitation 4. In our last week's recitation, we learned about the intermediate HTML concepts like tables, lists, and everything. We also saw how to add the images and everything else, right? And I hope you guys gave the quiz of week 3, which was up last week based on the number conversions theory systems, which we learned last week. And into this week, in like this week syllabus, we are going to learn the advancements of HTML topic further. We are going to learn about the CSS styling, which I think I just gave the brief introduction about the CSS styling. Some of you were also used some of the styling concepts during your assignments. So yeah, I think that's it. We can just start the recitation. Make sure you just mark the attendance. The pattern is the same. I'll be just sharing a secret code with you guys during the recording, and just mark the attendance and make sure, like, if you guys have any doubts, queries, concerns, we can connect during my lab support hours or the office hours, right? So again, same, just like last week, this week also for this recitation, I'm not going to share any kind of presentation or PPT. We'll just directly look and jump into our code editor, and we'll just see the practical implementation of each and everything which we learn, right? I believe that presentation, all of the stuff was like good for our first 2 weeks, wherein we learned basic HTML tags and all those things. But as we are just going ahead with our course concepts, for a topic where the presentation is necessary, I'll be sharing that with you guys for sure. But other than that, I want you guys to just try the things which I'm doing hands-on with me. You can just do it simultaneously with me by pausing the video, and so that you'll just get to know that where you guys are stuck, right? Where you are facing an issue. And one more thing, we are also be using the reference as the resource reference as the W3 schools, wherein it comes with a beautiful code editor, right? I'm sure like most of you guys have already tried the W3 schools code editor. So, and one more thing, while you are working, I strongly suggest, like, if still you are working on Notepad++ or any text edit application, you can try using some other professional level code editor like Visual Studio Code or Atom or Sublime, because things become really easy when you work on them. You can add the comments, like I suggest that you just add the comments for everything you learn, right? For example, you come across any kind of new tag, let's say span tag. You are not aware of a span tag. You just write the comment that span tag is used for so and so purpose, just a single line comment, right? So it's a good practice for you guys to just remember things, and next time you just use it, you just recollect it. Oh, okay, I learned so and so things, and these are the applications for it, right? So without wasting any time further, let's just move ahead with our week 4 recitation. And let me just grab the folder. Okay, so this is my folder. Let me just open recitation 4 folder, new terminal and folder. Let me write a code. It will directly open in my Visual Studio Code application. Here it is. Awesome. So today we would be dealing with some of the files over here. You guys can see. Let me just go over here. Okay, I'll just zoom this thing so that it would be easier for you guys to just read the content which is displayed over here. And awesome. I'll just show you the output in the browser. Okay, so this is the output for this particular HTML file called as Netherlands_r4.html, this file. Again, I'll be sharing all of the files which we are working currently for this lecture for you guys to just download it in your system and practice simultaneously. So, yep. So again, if you just see the basic content of the this web HTML code, right? So some of the things we are already done, right? You guys are aware of some of the things, right? This is our basic HTML boilerplate template, doc type HTML, which is just the doc type, which just mentions that the particular file is the HTML document, right? HTML is the root element all of these things, the head tags, the body tag. This is just our generic sample template, right? Header tags. You guys are aware of the P tag, which is the paragraph tag. So the major or the main focus of today's lecture is going to be learning the styling part, right? Which is the CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. Okay, before jumping to the code, let us just review and go through the basics, right? So if you just go on W3 Schools, okay, so here it says CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. It's just used like earlier in the beginning recitations, I just gave you guys an example, right, of how all these three things combine and just work together, HTML, CSS and JavaScript, right? So basically HTML is just the body, the skeleton of a human body, right? CSS, it's just the visual representation. It's just the skin, eyes, nose, and everything, the different kind of parts, which just adds an look or the appearance, right, to the skeleton or the body. And what is JavaScript? We'll learn further, but just to give you a small overview, like JavaScript gives the functionality, like the whole human being is able to move his hands, walk, right? Everything, the different kind of actions he or she is going to perform. All those things are because of the JavaScript. It makes the human live. So combining these three, with the help of all these three technologies in a combined manner, we are able to like do and create wonders in the world of web page, right? So today we are going to focus on the CSS thing, which is cascading style sheets. So here it's just the basic contents. It's just used to format the layout of the web page, right? So obviously all these things are, for example, this website which you are able to see over here in front of you, it's the W3 Schools website, right? So all these things, different kind of things over here, if I just hover the text, particular, for example, this green color, there is green color background, right, on the HTML CSS font. So all of the things which you guys are seeing here is created with the help of CSS. Of course, all the content and everything is done with the help of HTML, but all the stylings and the visual appearance, like everything is done with the help of CSS, because only HTML, if we don't use CSS, obviously it would be very much boring for the end users or the viewers to just understand the things. HTML is just has always been used just to display or put up the content on the website, right? But CSS, what the viewers and the end viewers see is mainly the CSS, which makes the website very beautiful and appealing, right, to the eyes. So we'll see like different kind of stylings, how you can add the different kind of stylings, background color, font size, and everything with the help of CSS. So talking about like how you can add the CSS, right? For example, over here in our code, you guys can see that the title says the Netherlands, and after that there's a body in which we have some header tags, the paragraph tag. Okay, if I just show you the output over here, you guys can see till here everything works smooth, everything is fine. Can you notice the CSS styling over here anywhere else? This is just the basic form of HTML code which we have already done in the past lecture, right? But for example, let's say if I open this Netherlands underscore R4 underscore final.html over here, and if I just display the output of here, obviously, by the way, you guys know that I can also change and just traverse the like I can just change the name of the file from here also directly, and it will just show me the output of that particular file. For example, if I write underscore final dot html, boom. So this is the output of the other file which says underscore final. So yeah, notice that like there are a couple of changes. The content and everything is the same, but it's just the difference between among the styling part, right? You guys can see the background has become black, the content has been just written in the green or the lime color. There are different kind of things over here. If you just hover, you can see the pink and the blue color. Notice that earlier our map was just above the table, this table, right? But now it's just on the left side. They both are just near each other, right? So all these things are we are able to do with the perform with the help of CSS, and we would be looking to each and everything, and how we can just do different kind of things with the help of CSS, right? So let's jump to our code. For example, over here, notice that in the body, Before that, like inside our head tags, notice that you guys can see something called as style over here, right? This thing. Let me just save this file. Perfect. Over here, what is the style tag? So first things first, if you want to just insert CSS, there are three different ways to just add CSS in our files. We'll just look up to all the different kind of three ways. Or from here, for example, if I just click on CSS over here, right? Oh, it's already written over here also. So see, the three different types are inline, internal, and external. So we can add CSS to our HTML documents in three ways, right? First is inline. What is inline? So for example, by using just simply the style attribute or the tag inside our HTML elements, what we did over here. For example, you take any tag over here, let's say for image tag. So here we are adding the style attribute, style in the form of an attribute or the property for our image tag directly over here without writing it anywhere else. So we can just directly change the style for this particular image directly from here. So this type is called as inline CSS. For example, if I want to write the styling over here in the header tag, I'll just simply open up the tag style, and inside that I can just write different kind of styles for different kinds of elements or tags. So then that kind of styling is called as internal styling. Okay, so I'll just write as a comment over here, command slash internal CSS styling, right? Also go notice, guys, like I want you guys also to write such comments, right? So that you would be able to understand, like every time you just see in the initial period of your learning, it makes easy for you guys to understand like, okay, what is actually happening, right? Obviously. So it's a good practice just to write comments wherever you feel it's necessary for you guys to know, right? Over here, let's say I just write inline CSS styling over here, inline CSS styling. Awesome, right? So, and the third type is the external CSS styling, in which we just create a different kind of CSS file. For example, over here, there are different kind of files, right? Netherlands underscore R4 and .html, paradox R4.html. Here you notice that there's a different kind of file called as mymenu.css. Now, we'll come to this, but just for now, just remember that the third way is the external CSS styling way, in which we just create a different kind of CSS file and we just pass the link or the reference to that particular file in our this HTML document. For example, for the reference or the link for this CSS file has been given over here inside our header tags, right over here, mymenu.css, right? So we'll come to this in a while, but just for now, remember that in our external CSS filing, here it's written, right? We just use a link element to link to an external CSS file. So these are a couple of different kind of types in which we can add the CSS to our HTML document, right? So you can just try all the different kind of examples over here in W3 schools and just play around and just see like what kind of differences you notice. You can just change the different kind of content. You can just play around with the tags, elements, and everything else, right? So this was about the type of like how we can just add the CSS styling. Regarding, okay, so later on, if you guys just want to work simultaneously, make sure I will be obviously putting, as I mentioned, all of the documents and files in our recitation folder under the folder of my name, and you guys can just download it and just open up this particular files, right? And doing that, okay, perfect. So just pause the video and just run the file and see the output, and you can just add the comments wherever you feel so. So later on after here, okay. So in the output over here, you guys can see that how am I able to just change the background of our web document, like of our web HTML file, right? So over here, you guys can see that I have given a style over here, which says style is equal to background color colon color black. Like this is just the basic syntax. Like if you just want to look up at the syntax of the HTML, styling. If I just go on W3 Schools and click on CSS over here, you'll just find the basic intro level tutorial, but you can just take the reference. But I'm here like just to explain each and everything how it works, because sometimes it might be confusing and you guys would not be able to grasp everything which you guys see over here. So I'm here just to make the process very smooth and easier for you guys to just understand, right? I will demonstrate with the help of examples and everything else. So over here, if you just click on CSS syntax, so it says like there's a particular way in which you can just write CSS styling for different kind of attributes. Over here, you guys can see that here they have added a particular property of color for the selector for the header tag h1, which is also called as a selector over here. So it works in this way, like we take any kind of a tag in the form of selector, we just open up the brackets and we just mention the property, color, font size, right, text align and everything else. We just mention its value. For example, color to what? Color blue, red, green, lime, anything. And then this is another property or the declaration, right? It says font size. I want the value to be 12 pixels, right? So that's the value for it. So it's just very easy for you guys to just add the different kind of properties and values, right? It's always in a pair, property colon value. Notice that if you just want to add more than one property value pairs or the declaration together, you just write a semicolon, right, towards the end of each and every declaration over here. For example, if you just see that we have added our CSS styling for the P elements, which is the paragraph element, in the form of, we say that put the color as red and the text align as center. So what it does is it just centers the text and it just colors the content in the form of red. So it's just easy for you. It's very easy to just add the different kind of stylings to different kind of tags. For example, we already learned about how to add CSS, right? So CSS colors. So in our example over here, let's just get directly to our example, right? So you guys would be able to relate it. Over here, notice that I added a style over here. So this is what type of CSS styling is this, right? Inline, internal, or external? Just pause this video and just give the answer. Like, obviously, this particular type of styling is the inline styling, which we just learned in a few minutes ago, right? Because we are adding the style attribute here directly with the tag body, right? Over here. Suppose if I just write the styling over here, inside our header tags, then that type of styling is called internal styling. So over here, what we are doing is we directly just mentioned that style is equal to background color black. So by default, the property of the background color is it will just change the color of the like our HTML file document over here, as you can see in the output over here. If I just reload the content and by mistakenly I just changed the color over here, like, right? So you can do it anything. For example, if I write the as black and I just save the file, yeah, here is our output. So I can write anything over here. Let's say I write pink, right? So it will just output the background color in the form of pink. So I'll just set it to black. It looks decent. And then you guys can see that different that I just open up a list, unordered list over here, right? In this, there are different kind of options which says Netherlands and Paradox. So this is a menu. For example, any kind of different kind of websites which you visit, you see that there are different kind of options, right? Contact us, home, about us, and so on and so forth, right? So how we can just create all of different kind of options, because till now in our last recitation video also, when we were covering the topic of HTML lists and tables, we learned about how we can just list out the different kind of items. But over here, you notice that obviously this small menu we have created with the help of HTML lists only, but how it just 360-degree transform its whole visual appearance and the look, right? So we are like getting this output with the help of CSS styling. Now we'll just look upon how we can just change the full appearance or the look of this particular menu. For example, over here, like the HTML content or the code stays the same. We just open up an unordered list over here. I just declare few of the list items, just two over here, right? Netherlands and paradox. Now, all these things would be little different or new for you guys as in terms of the syntax. For example, class is equal to left menu, right? You need not worry about this. We'll just, this is the part of our external CSS styling part. We'll just cover this particular thing in a while. Before that, I just want to cover different kind of elements or the HTML CSS styling part, right? So over here, let's say, for example, I've written class equal to left menu, right? And I've just passed the href, right, over here. And in the href, I've passed a link over here, link to a different kind of HTML file, right? And this file you can just find over here, right? For example, if I click over here in Netherlands, it will just redirect me to a different kind of page over here, for example, paradox or Netherlands, right? So this is our home page, this is paradox page, right? So it just simply redirects me to the different HTML file for which we just provide the path. And this thing I also covered in the last recitation video recording, wherein we learned about how to provide different kind of links to the different kind of HTML files, while inserting images, also how to just provide the links to external image or the images which are stored in our system of current working directory, right? So okay, after that, okay, so let me just open up this mymenu.css file. So if I just open up this file over here, you guys can notice that there are different kind of styling which we have added. So how does this work? So in every kind of CSS file, the extension over here is .css, right? For every HTML file, the extension we create is .html. For JavaScript file, the extension would be different, .js, right? So here, whenever you create a different kind of HTML file, the extension would be .css. And in that, notice that you have added different kind of stylings over here. For example, what is this ul.left menu, right? Obviously, it would be very much different or new for you guys to know. But there's something called as classes and ideas in CSS. So let's just learn about that first, and we'll just jump to our code later so that you guys would be able to understand in a more better way. So if I just go to our reference, CSS references, and if I just click IDs over here, I think it would be in the HTML classes. Perfect. So here you guys can see that HTML class attribute is used to specify a class for an HTML element. So there are different kind of elements, and for which we can just specify a class. What is a class and why there is a need of a class, right? So class attribute is often just used to point to the class name in the style sheet. So the usage or the application of classes is for styling that particular tag or the attribute, right? It's just like it's just like calling that particular attribute, right? We are just giving a name as in the form of a class to that particular element, and we would be calling that particular element or targeting that particular element for which we just want to provide the different kind of stylings. For example, over here in the example which they have provided, we are creating a class city over here, and we are adding that particular class to the div tag. Now, what is the div tag, right? So div tag is just a division tag which just provides a particular section for you guys just to work on the web page. And you guys would encounter this tag in a lot of examples as we move ahead. And there's also a span tag which we will learn in a while. So for example, I was assigned a class city or for the div tag, and I've just mentioned the styling for the class city over here. And notice you can see that different kind of stylings are written over here: background color, border, margin, and padding. Don't worry about margin and padding styles. That we would be covering in the box model topic in a while in today's recitation recording. But over here, if I just click on try it yourself, and if you just see the output over here, you guys can see that wherever I've just added the class city over here in our different kind of HTML tags, it has just given me the particular output for all of this different kind of stylings which we have added. For example, if I just remove this class in our third div element, and if I just run this code again, So this content would not be obviously able to fetch the different kind of stylings which we have added for our class city, right? So it's just like it always just makes our life easy for like, because we need not have to always write different kind of CSS stylings for each and every element specifically, right? We can just create and just write a different kind of stylings for in general in the form of class. And for example, if you just want to use that particular same styling to a different element, and we can use the same styling without even writing it one more time, right? So this is just the application of CSS or class element in the HTML topic. There's a different kind of and okay, other than classes, there's something called as HTML ID over here. So ID also works in the similar manner, but the only difference is that we use, for example, over here it says that ID attribute specifies a unique ID for an HTML element. The value of the ID attribute must be unique, as the name suggests. So for example, in the layman terms, what is the ID? So ID is unique to each and every individual, right? For example, you are in our particular section, you have particular RUID. So the your ID, RUID is unique, right? It cannot be similar to someone else's. So in the same way, like in our CSS or HTML files, there are different kind of classes and IDs. So ID should be unique to a particular element. For example, over here, if you see in this example, perfect. So here we are dealing with both classes and IDs. So this particular styling is associated with the class, and notice that there's a small dot over here, right? So we access all the classes with the help of this dot class name. This is the syntax over here. This is an ID. We access all the IDs with the help of a pound or hashtag character symbol, right? So my header is the name of the ID which we have created for h1 tag over here, which you guys can just see. So what I have done is that I've just created an ID. In that, I've just add some kind of styling called background color light blue, color black. This color black is, it just colors the font or the content which is present right inside our main tag. Padding is okay. We'll just cover the padding, margin, all the stuff in the box model topic. But for now, just assume that it will just give some kind of spaces, right? For example, this is text align center. It just centers our text. For example, if I just comment this thing, or if I just remove this thing, run. So our content would be displayed in the default manner, right? So with the help of text align center, it will just center the text. So here we are able to do the styling in the form of IDs and tags, as you guys can see over here. For our different for our last three H2 tags, London, Paris, and Tokyo, we provided simply the class city over here. Now, I just want you guys to just pause the video and add the ID called my header to the last H2 tag, and just think that what would be the output, right? For example, if I write same thing over here, what should be the output? Will it provide the same output? Will it give some kind of error, or what should be the output? If I just click run, boom. So obviously it will run in the manner like it will just perform all the stylings which we have mentioned in our my header ID, but obviously it's not recommended, and we should always keep the ID attribute unique to any particular HTML element, right? So this is the significant difference between IDs and class. So just wanted to cover this thing for you guys, just to know to work on our next assignment and to perform this particular HTML file on which we are working. So over here, what we have done is we have created different kind of classes. Class name left menu, right over here. We have just assigned this class name to our list elements and list items, right over here. Now, where we have defined the CSS styling for this class, there are again different kind of ways, but over here for this class we have defined the styling through with the help of our external CSS file called mymenu.css over here, right? You guys can just see over here we are targeting our left menu class which we have created in the UL tag over here with the help of our dot operator. So it goes like this, like UL dot left menu. I can also write like just left menu. That's fine. If I just write left menu, this also works. But I'm targeting UL, which is just the unordered list. I can also write it in this way. This is just a syntactical difference over here. Notice that we are targeting and using left menu class for different kind of HTML elements, so that you guys don't get confused. We are using the initial name of the HTML elements before the dot operator, right? So for example, over here, we are using the left menu class in our unordered lists, list items, and whereas over here, I think, yeah, the A tag, which is the anchor tag over here. So wherever there's a tag, it will just display the output and just perform that particular styling over there. So if you just see the output over here, notice that this kind of different things. For example, we have performed the stylings for the menu. Let's just take the menu for example for now. If I see that the color, this is the left menu and this is the A, and the styling which we have provided is display is equal to block, width is equal to 200 pixels, color equal to yellow, background color equal to blue, and left menu underscore colon hover. Now what is this, right? This is something different. So this is a property which we can just add to our HTML elements, where for example over here, if we just hover this menu, right now, just look at the cursor over here. If I'm hovering into this menu section, there's some kind of difference. Whenever I hover to this paradox option, it turns into the pink color over here. Same with Netherlands, right? So how this is happening? So simply we are doing with the help of CSS styling, we are just saying that, okay, to our A tag, which is inside our list element over here, which you guys can see over here. So we are also writing giving the class to our A tag over here, and we are just saying that if the user just simply hovers to this particular content in the form which is written in the A tag, just turn the color to pink. By default, the color is blue. Notice that here over here, we are just saying that obviously if someone hovers on it, then only just turn the color into the pink. But over here, by default, the color should be blue, and the font or the color of the font should be in yellow color. So in this way, you can just play around with different kind of things and you want. See, the by default nature of this menu is blue and yellow. But if as soon as someone hovers on it, it just changes its colors. So this is something exciting and fun to learn and just to implement and see the output. Okay, so let's just look at to this styling. We have written UL dot left menu float colon left, right? So here it says that I just want to show you the implementation of it for you guys. Okay, perfect. So here I've written the inline CSS styling, right? Which says style equal to float under colon left. So what we have done is that over here, initially our map was about the table, right? For example, if I just remove this thing from here, and if I just save the file, boom. By default nature is that it will just be on top of the table, the image, right? But if I want that image should be on the left side, so I'll just grab this thing and I'll just simply just add inline styling over here and just simply write float colon left. It will just place the image on the left side first. It will just take the image and the content or the table would be on the right side. If I just save the file, you guys will be able to see the output from here, right? So in this way, we just organize the content of the images and tables, right? Later on, all these things, the content, the overall content or the most majority content of our web page, which you guys can see is in lime color or the greenish kind of shade, right? Where is it, right? I want you just to pause this video and figure it out that where's the styling for this particular thing wherein we are just making the content of our web page in the form of green. Just figure it out and look in our HTML file. Just pause the video. Okay, So I think you guys would have guessed it correctly over here, where I'm saying that body color equal to lime, right? So this is the internal styling, CSS styling, wherein we are just saying that, okay, just take the content of the body and output it in green color. And after that, okay, notice that there's a different kind of tag called a span tag, right? Now, what is a span tag? So in simple layman terms, that whenever you are writing or displaying any kind of content over here, let's say, for example, we have used the span tag for, okay, the color red, the Netherlands over here. Perfect. So over here, what you have done is that whenever in the content you just want to target to a particular text inside a content, right? Then you just simply write that particular text or words inside the span tag, so that you can just target that particular element to add this different kind of styling depending on the requirement, right? For example, if you just want this particular text constitutional to be in different color, or the font size or the font style should be different, right? Anything. So you guys can just simply target this and put this particular word inside a span tag, and you can just define the CSS styling, or it can be inline or external or internal, like, okay. So over here, we'll just see the demonstration of our span tag. For example, over here, we have written the text Ardennes Mountains inside our span tag, and we have given the inline CSS styling, which says color red, font family Arial, right? So let me just search this word. Okay. Over here. Oh, it was hidden over here. So for example, let me just move this thing over down. Okay. For example, if you guys just see this particular text, it's displayed in the red color font, right? Because we just want the red color to be applied to this particular content or the text in our whole content. So that's where the role of a span tag comes into the picture. So you can just try and play around with the different kind of tags and stylings, and just see the output, like how it's changing and how it's working, right? So in that way, you will get a better understanding how things are working with the different CSS stylings which we learned, right? So further in our output, obviously, notice that over here, we are adding a border to our famous artists, and this should be written inside our header tag because the font is different, it's large, it's bold, right, over here. So how to just simply add a border? For example, over here in H2 style, where we have just written the famous artist's content, we are just simply adding the border in the form of inline CSS styling. So again, I want you guys to just simply add the comment. I can write over here, let's say, for example, inline CSS styling, right? So it just becomes easy. So it just simply puts this text in a border. What is this 5 pixels, right? So this is just the value in the form, like it's just the thickness, right? There are different kind of values associated, wherein we just talk about how we just want to define the thickness. That's something called as px, which is called pixels. That's something called as percentages. There are different kind of there are different forms in which we can just mention the values to different kind of stylings. For example, we can just mention the value for the font size, for the border size, padding, margin, everything, right? So for now, for example, if I just write right here 10 pixels, boom. So it will simply just thicken the border size of this particular text, right? If I just write it as 2 pixels, so obviously it will just reduce the thickness of the border. So let it be 5 pixel. Okay. So here again, I'll just we have just implemented a simple unordered list. There are different kind of list items, and over here, notice that if I click on this particular text, Renee Magritte, right, it will redirect me to a different kind of HTML page, right? And we learned this thing in our last recitation recording, how we can traverse to or link to different kind of HTML files. right, with the help of href attribute and anchor tag. Over here, you guys can see that I have written this tag inside our anchor tag, and we have provided the link of that HTML file wherein we want the users to traverse or get redirected in the form of href attribute, right? So this is just the basic thing, but the major target key focus was learning different kind of CSS stylings, wherein we just enhances the look of our web page, right? Over here, you guys can see that earlier how the web page content was displayed over here. If you just want to see the initial default web page over here, boom. So initially our website was looking something like this, which was very simple and no different kind of stylings, no different kind of menu and everything else. But afterwards, when we just inserted our CSS styling code, we can just see the output in a very different look, right? For example, just right over here, right? So this is the file wherein I just want you guys to just practice along with me. And over here, if I just click on paradox underscore r4.html, right? And if I just click on, let me just go live again, and awesome. So this is our HTML file, and if I just click on final, okay, so here's a different kind of styling which we have done, not much, but here there are different things which are used. For example, if I just hover on this text, obviously it will redirect me to another HTML file. This is a third party or different website. We have just added our link. This is the external link of that particular website. So I want you guys to just add the link of any website. It can be any website or of your choice over here to just see if it's working. You can just play around with the content, right? And these things we have already covered, right? You just put the anchor tag and you just associate the href attribute, right? So what else? For example, in our output, if I open the paradox underscore r4 underscore final.html file over here, let me just close this thing. So here, notice that we have included our external CSS files. So, okay, so this is something which is very advantageous. For example, if I just create one CSS file, which is called mymenu.css, I can use that same CSS file for our different HTML documents. Yes, that's possible. So for example, we have used this mymenu.css file for our Netherlands underscore r4 underscore final.html file. We can also use that same file for this paradox underscore r4 underscore final.html file. We just simply have to just write this one line piece of code in our head tag. Yes, that's important. Just always have to link the external CSS filing reference inside our head tags below the title, or like usually it's a good practice. People say like just have to write the link below our at the end, right? Whenever you close the header tag, you just simply write this thing over here. So what it says that this is a link tag. What is REL, right? REL is just the relationship. It says style sheet. You are adding a CSS file, so you will write REL equal to style sheet. It will just let the HTML document know that, oh, you are inserting or linking a CSS file to this particular document, right? This href, you guys are aware, right? So it's just this attribute specifies the URL of the linked resource. So we are just specifying this name of the file so that it will just fetch and associate or link all of the styling attributes which are already written in our CSS file to all the different kind of tags present in this particular HTML file. So over here, again, you just have to simply add the class names to the different kind of HTML tags you want that particular output for. For example, we have written the class left menu, which we already created in our mymenu.css file, right? Over here, we have simply added the different kind of classes, the same classes in list items over here. So in the same manner, we are able to create the same menu in a different kind of HTML file without us writing the same piece of code more than one time, right? So this also saves time. We just created that same piece of code and we are reusing it every time in different kind of HTML files. So this is the beauty of working with CSS. Obviously, there are many more things which just saves our time, and we'll just come to those topics in our upcoming recitation lectures. But for now, just understand the basic syntax and the styling, the types of styling, how we can add CSS to our files. um the CSS topic is like it's purely based on practice. Like even if you just look up to different kind of resources over here in the internet, right? But if you guys will not be able to work by yourself or just practice hands-on, all different kind of materials which me and the professor is sharing with you guys, or work on different kind of examples. For example, over here in W3 schools, just practice this different kind of examples. There's a beautiful and wonderful code validator over here when you can just see the output over here, right? So it's very beneficial and helpful for you guys to just understand how things work in the world of CSS, where because uh, in the initial period it becomes a little trickier or confusing for you guys, because what there are different kind of syntactical differences, right? Where, for example, over here you guys are seeing that how to access the ID or the class, how am I supposed to insert the background color padding, right? So note that you just simply follow this video, work along with me, and obviously we have lab support hours and office hours for you guys to just have. If you guys just have any questions or face any kind of issues in this files, we can just sort and clear it out during those times. So for today's presentation, I think we have covered the different kind of stylings. We've looked to different kind of tags. We learned about classes and IDs. We learn about how we can link our external CSS file to our current HTML working document. And what else? Yeah, I wanted to cover the topic of box model of CSS. So I think we still have time. Okay, perfect. So here, for example, yeah, CSS box model, perfect. If I click over here, okay. So what is a box model? So in basic simple terms, the box model is used, it's just about the design and the layout of your content or the body, right? It's just, for example, here in this diagram or the depiction, you guys can see that in the center there's a content. After that, there's another layer of padding. After that, there comes a border, and after that, the last layer is the margin. So this is just the explanation of different kind of parts, wherein how different kind of layers are associated under each and every other layer, right? So content is just the text or the images which you simply write in different kind of tags, the p tags and the h tags, different kind of tags. The padding clears an area around the content. So the next area or the layer, the first layer around the content is always the padding, and a border that goes around the padding and the content, it's just simply the border. So border comes after the content and the padding lies between the border and the content. And lastly, there comes the margin, which is just the area after the border. Everything after the border is margin. So margin just takes everything inside it, right? So for example, obviously you guys would be able to understand this in a more clear manner with the help of an example. So here there's a simple demonstration of the box model in HTML. We have created, this is just the header tag, this is the paragraph tag. Over here there's a div tag, right? And we are providing the CSS styling for our div tag. Div is just the basic division tag, which just gives a section or provides a different kind of section in which we can just freely work around. So here we can obviously direct insert any text inside our div tag. I can obviously write in different kind of forms, but here we have just simply written the text in our div tag. Now notice that. Let me just remove the styling over here and run. Boom. So obviously, if we don't provide any styling, our div tag will all the content which we have added in the div tag will simply look like our HTML or the content which we have written in our paragraph tag. Okay, so by the way, let me just give the or share the secret code with you guys for this particular recitation recording, which is the recitation 4. So the secret code for recitation 4 would be 619. I repeat, it's 619. So make sure you just mark the attendance for week 4. And yeah, let me just continue the topic of box model. So here, notice that we just remove the styling for div tag and it just displays the contents in a similar way as we just write the content in the paragraph tag. Let me just add the styling again over here for the div tag. Okay, so notice that we have, okay, run the tag. We have added a background color over here, which says light gray, right? Width equal to 300 pixels. So for example, let me write the width as 700 pixels. Boom, it will just take up the width, right? If I write it as 200 pixels, obviously it will just take the width in a very less, it will just take up a very less space. So let me just write as 400 pixels for, or 300 pixels for now. And then I just add a border which says 15 pixels solid green, which is just the color, and this is just the thickness of the border. Okay, here comes padding and margin. Notice that we learned about padding, margin, content, and border, right? So padding is the area between our border and the content, right? So over here, we have written padding equal to 50 pixels. But how would we be able to just know that where exactly padding is, because we have already added a border and later on we say that, okay, margin also 20 pixels. For example, if I just increase padding equal to 100 pixels, boom, notice that the area over here, which is between our text over here and the border, it just got increased from here to here, everything, this thing, right? Just notice that if I just increase the padding size as 200 pixels, boom, notice that this area now got more increase and our text, the basically the space between our content text and the border, it just got increased. For example, if I just write it as 50 pixels again, there's a fine space between our content and the border, right? How about margin? If I just let me just increase the margin value. Now pause the video and just think that how would it affect the output, right? For example, if I just run this code, boom. Notice the difference, right? Did you guys just see the difference? Like, again, recollect the meaning that over here, that margin clears an area outside the border. So everything outside our border is the margin. So over here, this is our border, and the area over here, everything, this area, this area, this area, it is just the part of the margin. So if we just increase the margin, obviously it will just take up the space from the area surrounding our border. So if I just mention the margin as 20 pixels and run, obviously this looks decent. And there's something called, okay, so again, there's a wonderful way of viewing the area in which you just are working, right? For example, over here, in the last lecture, we learned how to just navigate to our developer tools option over here. From more tools, you just go to different options as developer tools. And over here, if I just click over here and I just click on any element over here, let's say I'm just hovering to this element. So it says over here, so it says that this particular thing which you are seeing, the blue thing is the content, the the next layer, right, is the padding, the next layer is the border, and the outer layer, which is in the orange shade, that's the margin. So in this way, you would be able to see the perfect difference in different kind of layers surrounding our content. So this is just a beautiful way, obviously, in the professional world, or when you'll just work with different large scale projects, you while just debugging the code, you guys will be obviously using this developer tools just to see the errors and what kind of things are clashing or conflicting with each other, right? So hope this makes sense. Like this is just a beautiful visual demonstration of a cover which covers just all the things of box model. And one last thing we just wanted to cover is the conflicting issues in our CSS styling. For example, there might be a question, or let me just ask you a question here. For example, if I'm for this particular style, let's say if I'm writing class or style equal to what style? Okay, yeah, style equal to color, let's say blue, right over here. And if I just see the output, perfect. This particular heading text is displayed in the color blue, right? And now, if I just go on to our CSS, my menu.css file over here, and let me just also give a class to this file, or simply let me add the internal CSS styling way for this particular tag. And let me just give a class called h1 demo, for example, just over here. And if I just write the class dot h1 demo over here. Okay, wait. I'll just simply write h1 demo. Okay, let me just write in our my main.css demo color was to red. Okay, did you guys see any difference over here? No, right? It's still showing the output in the form of blue color. What if I just remove the internal inline CSS styling from here? From here. Let's just save the file. Okay, now it's showing the output in the form of red color. So notice that what just happened, right? If you just config different kind of CSS stylings for a particular HTML, for example, I'm writing the inline styling, I'm also mentioning the internal styling over here, and also I'm mentioning the external styling over here in our CSS file over here, right? Let me just comment it for now. So it will just simply, during such clashes or conflicts, it will just simply take up the styling which is more closest to that particular element. For example, over here, for our h2 tag, it just simply took the styling which is the most closest over here. The most closest styling would be the inline CSS styling. After that, what comes? The internal CSS styling, and after that, the last priority is given to the external CSS styling part, right? So that's very important just for you guys to note, and different kind of questions can come on that too. For example, in the our CSS outline or CSS styling, how to, right over here. H1 and in HTML. I just wanted to show a demonstration of flashing. One more example. If I just click on here and dots it in the style, right? Perfect. Over here, if I write dot, what's the name of the class? It should be this thing. Perfect, right? h1 underscore demo dot h1 underscore demo. Perfect. And color to pink. So I have written the styling for our h1 underscore demo class in internal CSS styling, in the form of internal CSS styling. I also added here in the form of external CSS styling over here. Let me just uncomment the code over here so that it would be showing the output in case of conflicts over here. So notice that we have added the CSS styling in all the three different forms, in internal, external, and inline over here, of course. Let me just add the inline CSS styling. Color equal to aqua, let's say, for example. So here, notice that there are obviously I've given three different colors: pink, aqua, and red. So just pause this video, and what would be the final output? What would the color of the final output of the text the Netherlands in our browser? I want you guys to just think and just answer. Will it be aqua, will it be pink, or will it be red? Because remember that we discussed that the most closest style wins. Just remember in this way, the most closest style wins. So here, which is the most which style is more closer to our h1 underscore demo class, right? Obviously this inline styling. So obviously the output, the color of our output would be aqua, right? It's aqua, right? For example, let me just remove the inline CSS styling. Now, which is more close, the inline or the internal or the external? Obviously internal, it's over here. The external, it's obviously a different, or it's just given the last priority, right? So the output would be red, but no, it's still red, it's not pink. How come? So here's the catch. For example, over here, notice that in the code where you are providing the link of external CSS file, just notice that where you guys are providing the link over here, right? Link rel, which is the relationship which says style shade, and href mymenu.css. So here, this is just let me just write it over here and comments external CSS styling. So this is the mistake which like a lot of students usually make, and just say that it would obviously display the content and take the priority for the internal CSS styling, right? But it doesn't work in that way, because while just coming from top to bottom, just in the layman ways, while coming from top to bottom to reach over here, first things come is the inline CSS styling. Next thing what we face is the external CSS styling, because it's always outside of our style element tags, right? Because whatever internal CSS which we are going to write, it would be inside between our style tag and the link to our external CSS file. We always just mention or put it after our style elements. So last thing that comes is our internal CSS styling. So it would be given the last priority. So for example, over here, if I just comment this code in our CSS file over here, obviously now in this case, it would give the priority to our internal CSS styling, and we would see the color as pink. Boom. So this is just the basic difference I just wanted to cover and let you guys know that in cases where you just face different kind of conflicts or clashes in different kind of CSS forms or styling, right? So then in such cases, there's some kind of priority, and you guys can just remember in this way that most closer always wins, right? So this was about the advanced topics of our HTML learning series for week 4 recitation 4 video, and just go through all the different kind of things which we learned during this video. Make sure I'll be sharing the different all this 4 files which we just learned, including the mymenu.css file. Make sure you just go through and output the different kind of things. And all the best for your upcoming quiz. We'll just discuss the content of our week 4 upcoming quiz, and make sure you mark your attendance. And if you guys have any queries, doubts, or concerns, do let me know. You can just email me, or we can just connect during my lab support hours or office hours. And we'll see you guys next week, and we'll just learn something new for our CS170 course.